Now the tariff man has shown his hands. President Trump's tariffs have provoked world condemnation and fears of recession and a surge in inflation globally. And not just, of course, in the United States. Countries across the globe have vowed to escalate a trade war with the U.S. And Trump's massive tariffs have stoked concerns of significant price hikes in the biggest consumer market. Financial markets continued to sell off on Friday, extending the over $2.5 trillion market value losses on Thursday. Global leaders have condemned Trump as he signaled the end of trade liberalization that lasted decades. Fitch Ratings warned that U.S. imports face an average duty of 22.5%, up from 2.5% last year. Countries most at risk from Trump tariffs are the ones manufacturing goods and exporting to the U.S. mainly. China and EU accounted for around a quarter of U.S. total imports in 2024 and are in the top 3 suppliers of U.S. imports along with Mexico. The other top countries at risk include Japan, Vietnam, South Korea, Taiwan, Thailand, India and Bangladesh. Many other Southeast Asian countries will also be heavily affected. Among them, Laos and Cambodia are likely to see a huge hit from high tariffs. Americans rely on those countries for consumer goods, machinery, electrical goods and textiles. Those goods along with steel, aluminum and autos are expected to see a price surge. In the US, everything from cannabis to running shoes to Apple's iPhone might see a price hike for US buyers. And American companies with significant overseas production are also at risk. Gems and jewelry importers are also concerned that tariffs would weaken US demand from a price rise. Rosenblatt Securities estimates that if Apple were to pass the expenses on to consumers, a high-end iPhone might cost over $2,300 from the $1,200, which is the current price. Prices of Nike and Adidas sneakers are likely to rise in the US after new tariffs on Vietnam, China, Bangladesh and Indonesia, which are of course the key manufacturing hubs. Tariffs hit fast fashion retailers H&M, which sources from China and Bangladesh mainly, and Zara owner Inditex too. Analysts also said that the tariffs could alienate allies in Asia and undercut strategic efforts to contain China. As political tensions between China and the US escalated, clothing and sportswear brands began to source increasingly from Vietnam, Indonesia and India rather than China. But now with the alternative countries also hit with high tariffs, retailers may not be able to fully offset these taxes.
Much more quickly, and it helps speed overall transactions.
Drop it in the yard, and then.
All right, let's also just listen into what the business owners have to say about this.
When you're kind of talking about the products that we get, and we're kind of getting thin margin, if the product prices go up, we'll have to take the same margin and probably little more down on the margins too. So. That affects the local businesses like us. So, yeah.
I'm really angry about this. I'm really angry. Not only me, the whole people, everybody in this plant is angry about what he's doing. Like he's trying to take our jobs and give it to other people just because he thinks he can.
Right now, between rising costs, geopolitical problems and wars even, these rising tariffs do not help us, so we are afraid for our companies. We fear that there will be a downturn because then it will depend on the other side if the Americans are willing to pay more.
So probably the biggest challenge we may have is spirits business, but almost 70% of our business is either in Japan or the United States. And we have strong bourbon brand in the United States. We have very strong Japanese brands in Japan. So we will produce and try to sell locally. That's the key strategy with the tariffs.
Now let's also listen to what the general masses from around the world have to say about this.
I mean, I think everybody's already seen the effect of tariff, especially like if you have any money in the stock market, you've lost some money. I think everybody's anticipating prices going up, and it's kind of the last thing we need right now because we're already dealing with inflation, and if the economy slows down and we're dealing with inflation, it's like that's going to be it's going to be a mess, man.
I mean, every day you go to the store, things are more expensive, and not just food, but things when you look across the board, childcare, summer camps, it's just one thing after another where the prices are constantly going up. And what makes it most interesting to me, I didn't vote for him, but he ran on the platform of lowering prices, and I feel like we, as people who weren't in favor of his platform and what they were running for, watched other people get duped, and now we're all paying the price for it. And it's like, are we going to have 4 years of just prices continuing to go up?
For latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.